Thanks for joining me again. You're watching In Deep on the Delta. This is the weekly fishing report for the week of September 15th, and it's a really good one. I'm going to start off by talking about Monday. I was out at Russo's for D. Thomas's, we'll call it celebration of life, or his memorial. It was really nice. A lot of the old time guys were out there, and they got to tell some stories of D and talked about fishing with D and all the memories they had. So really nice send off for D. After the ceremony, they spread his ashes. So everyone should know that when they're out here, D is with us and he will be on the Delta eternally. So rest in peace, D, and thank you for everything that you have done for the game of bass fishing. Okay, the Delta, it has been pretty much on fire, and you all know that the last 10 days or so we've had an unbelievable hot spell, 110, 115 degrees. Water temperatures got up to about 83 degrees. Since that hot weather, the big deal right now is we have had some really cool nights, and water temperatures have dropped 4 or 5 degrees. They went from about 83 to about 76, depending on where you are in the Delta. Right this morning, I actually got 75 degrees at about 5 a.m. It's popped up to 76 already, and I think midday temperatures are still going to be around 77, 78 degrees. But the big deal is the water temperatures have dropped. Clarity is a little better. We haven't had a whole lot of wind, and there's not as much boating activity, so water clarity is anywhere from 5 to 8 feet. But the big deal is the temperature drop in the water, and what that has done is I think it's really put these fish into much more of an aggressive mood. The last couple of weeks, everything has been slow, punching, under the mats, frogging over the mats, and that has been the key to success. This week, a lot of people are having success with faster moving baits, fishing the outside of the matted vegetation. So what that's telling us, as the water temperature is dropping, these fish are getting more active. They're coming out and they're chasing bait. One bait, and before I get into all the baits and all this, I just want to thank all you guys so much for sending in reports. Every week I'm getting more and more reports, and I really appreciate it, guys, and it's helping me to put together a good report for you. So with that, faster moving baits, and everybody seems to be talking about chatterbaits again. 3 or 4 weeks ago, nobody seemed to be getting them on chatterbaits, or they weren't talking about it. I wasn't getting a whole lot of fish. Now everybody's getting fish on chatterbaits. They're also getting fish on crankbaits. And one bait that I want to talk about a little bit is a bait that my friend Dr. Ted has been using, and it is this, I think it's not the new gen, the first gen bait company. That's the Kanemoto brothers. They have this new, they're calling it, I think, an overspin, and basically it's a swim jig head with a small willow leaf blade on it attached by a little wire here, and I just have a paddle tail on here. I have not used this bait, but I set one up. Ted gave me this bait, and I'm going to set it up and I'm going to fish it, because Ted's been out here 3, 4, 5 days a week, and he has been slamming fish on this bait. He's going out to points with sparse tules on them that have a little moving water, and he's throwing this type of bait through those tules. And I know these are available all over now, so you can get these first gen baits at a number of tackle shops. Okay, so with that being said, punching and frogging are still on fire. Frog is day to day. Some days they bite the frog, some days it's a little tougher, but if you're punching out here and you stay with it, you are going to catch fish. I have been catching a lot of fish not only in vegetation, but if I go to a rock bank and I'm looking for a rock bank that has tule rock. So you can go down that rock bank for maybe a quarter mile, there's nothing. Just pass that up, get to where it's rock, tule, even if it's 20 yards, maybe 3 or 4 patches of tules. Fish that rock and tule. You get past that, pull up the trolling motor and go down the bank until you find that next tule rock. Get in there and fish the tules and rock. especially if the tules have some hyacinth on them that's catching in there. The fish are there. You can punch the hyacinth. You can throw chatterbaits and things on the outside and catch fish. They just seem to be, that's been a good pattern for me. I've also been catching fish on big baits after dark. I want to talk a story, or give you a little story, my story, but actually I had a report from a friend of the channel. His name is also Steve, and he does a lot of night fishing, and Steve gave me a report from last week when we had a full moon, that he just had an unbelievable night. But what it made the night unbelievable, he not only caught a lot of fish and got a couple over 5, a couple of over 4, and several over 3. He lost a huge fish, and he was telling me that he thought the fish was possibly a teener, at least a double digit, and he somehow lost it. And the moral of this story is not Steve's story. I mean, that's a great story, Steve. I don't want to, but I'm going to put you on the back burner there. When I read his story, thought of my story. I believe I was out on that same night, full moon, 3 a.m. in the morning. Steve talked about 3 a.m. It was his about when he hooked this fish. I hooked the biggest biggest largemouth bass that I've ever hooked in my life. It was on a tactical wake bait. I hooked him. I got him to the boat, couldn't get my headlamp on. I tried to net him when I shouldn't have, and I lost the fish. I dipped the net in, pulled it up. The fish was teetering on the edge of the net. It rolled over, dropped off, and I lost the fish. And, I'm not going to tell you it was a teener, but I think it was every bit of a teener. I know easily it was a double digit. It was the biggest fish I have ever lost in my life. And the moral of this story is that both Steve and I lost these fish long after dark into the night, 3 a.m. in the morning. These are when the big fish come out. So if you guys are out here head hunting and you want to get a big fish, wait till a full moon, or in a week or two we're going to have a no moon. These are the times when you want to come out and fish, not just after dark till midnight. You want to start at 10 o'clock and fish that midnight to 4 a.m. Those are when the big fish come out here. And I'm going to do a video on head hunting for the monsters out here. I don't always catch them. I'm not Matt Allen. I don't have a bunch of 13 to 15 pound fish, in my on my wall. But I do get some nice fish out here from time to time, and I know the biggest fish that I do catch are long after dark, and we'll give you all the secrets on that. That will be coming up in a couple of weeks. So with that, you're coming out here, you want to catch some fish. You can throw anything you want. If you want the bigger fish, stick to punching, stick to frogging, really stick to punching. If the frogging's not working, move away from the frogs, but stay on the punch as much as you can. You're going to catch fish on the outside of the vegetation with moving baits, crankbaits, chatterbaits, swim baits like we talked about. If you have the opportunity, fish early and fish late, the change of light bite. But those bites have been about a 45-minute bite. There still is a topwater bite. And the other thing, whopper ploppers, they've been in play for about 2 weeks now. I don't know why all of a sudden everybody's catching them on whopper ploppers, still catching them on walking baits like poppers, Zaraspooks, Ricos, bubble walkers. Those are all working early and late. But the morning bite and the evening bite is really compressed. You don't have to be out here at dark in the morning. It starts about 15 minutes after the sun comes up, and it lasts for a half an hour to 45 minutes. After that, it's dead. Same thing in the evening. It can be pretty slow right up until the change of, that from light to dark. You've got about a half an hour or 45 minutes. The key, though, if you want to catch fish out here, the weather is beautiful, it's not super hot, and you can stay out all day. You want to put your time in on the water, fish what's in front of you, whether you're punching, chatterbaiting, whatever. Fish what's in front of you, and make sure that you are paying attention to your moon phases and the tides. There will be 2 or 3 times during the day that the fish bite. Even the guys that are catching a heck of a lot of fish out here are having some 2-hour periods where it's really slow. But if you stick with it, you'll find these little bite windows that you'll catch 3, 4, 5 fish. Then the bite will taper off, and you'll have to keep working at it, but it'll come and go. So don't get discouraged. Put in long days. Make sure that you are really fishing on your best behavior during the moon phases, and obviously when the tides are moving. And it doesn't matter what tide you're on. High, outgoing, low, incoming, whatever it is, people are catching them on all tides out here. So just put in your time and stick with it and grind it out, and you should have a really, really good day with a good mix of fish. Not a lot of small fish, not a lot of big fish, but nice solid fish with some quality fish, really quality fish thrown into the mix. So thank you guys for watching. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button. And until next week, get out here and have some fun. Send me a report. I hope to see you guys on the water. Thank you for watching, and I'm out of here. I'm going to try to catch some punch fish today. Thanks for watching.